Have you tried marketing your product or service only to realize that explaining your offer's value feels like you're speaking an unknown language? It's freaking frustrating. Your product or service is great, but your efforts can feel scattered and ineffective without a clear, cohesive strategy. That's why creating your go-to marketing strategy is essential, even if you're not launching a new business. A robust go-to market strategy helps you clarify your messaging, understand your audience, and build a plan for sharing what makes your business valuable. It's not just about doing more marketing. It's about doing it in a way that truly connects with the people who need what you are offering. It's also not just about having a great product or service. It's about showing you can effectively communicate the value of that product or service to the right audience. So without that clarity, even the best ideas will struggle to gain traction. That's why the first step in any go-to market strategy engagement is a business readiness assessment. This foundational exercise ensures that you're prepared to execute and sustain your strategy. So in this video, we'll work through a simple but powerful worksheet to assess your readiness for growth. This isn't about perfection, it's about understanding where your strengths lie, identifying the gaps, and building the confidence to move forward. Now, this worksheet will guide you through 5 key areas of your business: resources, systems, processes, teams, and customs. Once you've completed this step, you'll have a clearer picture of your current situation and a roadmap for prioritizing your next steps. If you're feeling uncertain about your readiness for marketing, it's completely normal. It's not about having all of the answers right now. It's about taking the first step toward clarity and action. My name is Case Dean, and I specialize in helping businesses just like yours achieve sustainable growth. It's not just the kind of growth that looks good on paper, but the kind of growth that feels manageable and empowering. Here's the truth. Growth isn't about ambition, it's about readiness. I've created this video to walk you through a simple worksheet. I'm going to guide you through each step and help clarify how you can move forward with purpose. Let me just share a quick story about a client of mine. Sarah ran a consulting business and had a solid reputation in her industry, but things started to fall apart when she decided to scale by bringing on a new team and offering additional services. Her team felt overwhelmed, her systems couldn't keep up, and her clients began noticing the cracks. When I sat down with Sarah to assess her business using this very framework, Sarah realized her biggest gaps weren't what she'd expected. She discovered that her onboarding process was unclear, her tools were outdated, and her team was not aligned with her wider business vision. So once she addressed these areas, everything changed. Her confidence grew, her clients were happier, and her team became more efficient. This worksheet is designed to help you identify those gaps before they become stumbling blocks. I didn't think much about readiness when I started growing my own business. I was focused on big goals, growing revenue, launching new services, and reaching out to more potential clients. But as I pushed forward, I began noticing the cracks. My systems weren't scalable, and things started to fall apart when I brought on a small outsourced team. It was like 3 people, but the outcomes I was aiming for, they weren't clearly defined. Roles weren't properly established, and basic SOPs weren't in place to guide the work. It was a massive wake-up call. I was forced to scale back and actually had to start from square one. I learned all I could about go-to marketing strategy, and based on that, I created the worksheet that I will show you in this video. This worksheet helped me step back and assess where my business was, what was working, and what needed improvement. This is also the important first step of ASN Launch, my go-to market strategy roadmap. ASN Launch helps founders and CEOs create tailored go-to marketing strategies and help them prepare for a successful product or service launch within 90 days. But a quick and important segue. A go-to marketing strategy is like a plan for telling people about something new that you're offering. It helps you figure out who would want it, how to present it, and how to get them excited enough to try or buy it. But it's not just for new businesses. Even if your business has been around for a while, you might have something new, like a product or service or an idea that you want to share with people. A go-to marketing strategy helps ensure you're doing this in the best way possible, no matter how long you've been in business. Okay, let's get to the worksheet.
If you've already downloaded the worksheet, open it up now. I think the best thing for you to do is have it printed out so that you are able to fill it in the scores directly on the page. If you haven't already got access to the worksheet, don't worry, you can just follow along and take notes. So I'm going to guide you through each section and help you reflect on your business. Okay, let's get started with the first section, resources. So the first section is all about resources. It's the foundation of any business. And I need you to ask yourself 3 questions. Do you have the budget for expansion? Are your tools and technology up to date? And is your team adequately staffed for growth? Now, at the moment, you might be in a situation when it comes to marketing, you don't actually currently have a marketing team, but you do have somebody who's in charge of doing marketing the best they can. That might be you, or that might be another person you're working with, another founder, for example, or business partner. So that's what I want you to think about when you see the word team. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that you've got a marketing team, a set of marketers, or a marketing department. The most important thing is that I need you to be honest. If you are considering expanding your marketing, but your budget is already stretched thin, then you must address that gap. So let me give you an example. I had a client who wanted to launch a new product line, but hadn't accounted for the additional marketing, inventory, or training costs. And by going through this assessment with them and assessing their resources, we realized that they really needed to reallocate funds and also prioritize their existing offering and leave the whole idea of launching a new product to a new market for later on down the line. Okay, next up is systems. Systems are like the engine of your business. If they are not running smoothly, everything else suffers. So here are the questions that you should consider. Are your workflows efficient and well documented? Do you have a CRM or a system for managing your customer interactions? That's all the way from them being a potential customer, potential client, a lead, all the way through to them being an actual customer, client, and onwards to actually turn them into a cheerleader for your business. And finally, are your reporting analytics systems effective? Do you actually have any reporting analytics systems in place? For example, if you don't have these things in place, then it's going to be a direct 0. Manually tracking customer inquiries or sales is simply not scalable. So investing in a simple CRM can save you time and reduce errors. So score yourself for each question and jot down some notes about the improvement that you need to make. Okay, let me move on to processes. So processes are the backbone of your business. They keep things running smoothly, even, and especially as you grow. So the questions to ask here, are your processes standardized and repeatable? When it comes to processes, if you have a really small team or you are a solo superhero in your business, then I would ask you to look at your processes and ask whether or not they are processes that can only be done by you at the current moment. So if you have processes that work, that's great, but are they easily delegated to somebody else? Are your onboarding and training processes sufficient for new hires? So again, when you're bringing somebody in, it's going to be super important that you actually help them, help you, and help them hit the ground running. And do you have clear workflows for lead generation and sales? So think about it this way. If you were to hire someone tomorrow, would they know exactly what to do? If not, that's what we call a process gap. Write down your score for each of these questions. And again, Write down some notes around immediate improvements that come to mind that could help you with these areas. Now let's move on to team readiness. Now your team is critical to scaling your business. As I said, that might just be you, or it just might be one other, or it might be an outsourcer. But still, we need to ask these questions. Are the current team members or the current person or persons responsible for marketing, are they equipped with the necessary skills? Is your team aligned with your business's growth goals? And then as we're going through this, we'll start digging into, do you have clearly defined business growth goals in the first place? Do you have a plan for leadership development? If your team struggles with communication or unclear roles, you need to address those before you start thinking about growing or scaling marketing and, by extension, your business. So we're looking at things like training, clear job descriptions, and also leadership development, because all of these things will make a difference to your business growth. Finally, let's have a look at customer readiness. And what we need to be doing here is working out how dialed in you are when it comes down to your ideal customer for your product or service. So you need to be asking these questions. Do you have a clear profile of your ideal customer or customers? Because it is absolutely normal for you to have more than one ideal customer based on different services, packages, levels of budget for your services or your pricing, for example. And is your value proposition compelling and clear? And finally, do you have a feedback loop to understand customer satisfaction? Because understanding your customers deeply, it's just not optional. It's absolutely essential. So again, write down your scores and then think about ways to strengthen your connection with your ideal customers. And you might even have to go a step before that and start looking at exactly what needs to be done for you to actually even create those ideal customer profiles in the first place. So after you have completed the worksheet, you will come down to the scoring matrix, and it's time to look at your score and interpret your results. So what you want to do here is add up your scores for each section and compare them to this matrix. This matrix has 4 levels: low, moderate, good, and excellent. And then finally, there's the action plan. So what I want you to do here is list actions to address the gaps or weaknesses based on your scores and the notes that you've made. So I've got some example actions here for each of the 5 areas of assessment: resources, system, processes, team, and customers. And there's some space here for you to make some notes for each of those 5 areas. I want you to remember that this isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest with yourself or with your team and taking deliberate steps to grow sustainably. I hope you found this walkthrough helpful, and I encourage you to download the worksheet if you don't already have it and complete it. I want you to reflect on the scores that you've got and write down the action steps for each section, for each area of improvement that we've gone over. Growth isn't about doing everything at once. It's about steady, intentional progress. You'll find a link to download the worksheet below this video. And once you've completed it, let me know what you've discovered. I'd love to hear from you and support you as you take your next steps.